Kia ora koutou, ko Morgane tōku ingoa. My name is Morgane, and I am a Science and Curatorial Communicator at Canterbury Museum. So really I'm a science communicator. I'm also an entomologist, and so science communicator, that's kind of a very, very wide, broad field. I just recently went to the Conference for Science Communicators of New Zealand, and every person I met there, we all do something slightly different, but it's been very, very fun. And then an entomologist, I'm also a insect scientist. So I researched insects. So, what exactly is my job? That's a good question. I get asked that all the time. It's a very, very varied job. It's very cross-disciplinary. This is a job that did not exist until I came down to Canterbury Museum 4 years ago. And so I'm officially part of the education team. And so I help out a lot with public programs and education programs. So when there's an exhibition that gets put on, me and the education team, we think about what kind of event we could put on, what we could do for the community. We collaborate a lot with libraries and other institutions because, as you may be aware, we've kind of are going through a massive redevelopment, and so we don't really have the space anymore to host people in the kind of way that we were doing before. Um, I also help out with comms and marketing, so finding stories in our collections and helping put that out on social media and on the website. So sometimes that includes me finding a really, really cool photo and doing research on that, and then that might go out onto our Instagram and Facebook. It's also interviewing and filming researchers that come to the museum or curators and the like. I do a bit of my own curation as well, so I've been put on a few other projects, sometimes being able to do my own exhibit in collaboration with, for example, Turanga. I did one earlier this year on insects, because it fits with my expertise. I help out with exhibitions as well, so sometimes kind of helping them put the objects together or making sure that the labels actually fit with the object that goes with it. So, an example would be the dinosaur exhibition that we had earlier this year. The labels that got given to us, a lot of them were wrong, especially with the species and how that was written. It's not something necessarily that the exhibition team realizes that there's something wrong with that label, but with my scientific background, I was able to say, well, actually, no, that's wrong, or that epoch and the years that is put with it don't match. And then I also do a bit of adjunct teaching at the University of Canterbury. So that's kind of my job. It's very, very diverse. Not one day since I've started has looked the same, which I love. I very much thrive on diversity and meeting people and talking. So how did I get here? Honestly, I'm not really sure, but I'll kind of tell you where I started. So you may notice from my accent that I'm not from New Zealand. I moved to New Zealand 20 years ago when I was a child. I was born in New Caledonia. Um, so that's me right there. 5 years old at the Australian Museum. I've always been really interested in science. I come from a fairly scientific family. My parents are both scientists. Um, and then, so in high school, I am very much a nerd. I love reading. I'm such a goody two shoes. I wanted to please everyone and do everything and try it all, to the point that I didn't actually know what I wanted to do. My best subjects were biology, art history, and photography, which I got told that you couldn't really combine that into one thing. Well, jokes to them. And so I ended up going to university and I did a Bachelor of Science, majoring in biological sciences and biological anthropology, still not really knowing what that would lead to. Um, by my third year of my bachelor, I was like, I don't really know. All of these papers are not really interesting, or I can't really see myself fully doing that, until I got to a paper on entomology, on insects, and it just flipped my world. I loved it. I realized how important they were and how much I've actually always loved them, and yeah, it was just that light switch moment. Um, and so I decided to continue into postgrad doing that. So I ended up doing an honors and then a PhD with my research focusing on stick insects. I was looking at their color and camouflage. Um, and then while I was doing my postgrad studies, I started saying yes to every opportunity to talk to people. I really wanted to practice my public speaking because when I started, I wasn't very good at it, and I really wanted to just put myself out there. And yeah, so I just said yes to going to libraries and presenting, going to schools. I did the 3 minute thesis competition, which is terrifying. And then I got an amazing opportunity to film a children's TV show called Bug Hunter. Um, at that point, when they reached out to me, I thought they just wanted advice on insects. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then the production company was just like, would you present this? And I was like, you do realize I've never done this. They didn't care. They just sent me off to Canada and then I had to film. So it was very much a baptism by fire, but I loved it. And so, yeah, I just doing so much science communication is kind of when I applied to Canterbury Museum, this is not the job that I applied for. I applied to be curator. Somebody else got that, but they saw that I was doing a lot of outreach in science communication, and so they offered me this other job. Um, and so what I like about my job, every day is different. It's very cross-disciplinary. I love talking to people. I love finding out what everyone else is doing, which I did a lot of that during my postgrad. I loved hearing about everybody else's research. And there's just so many different opportunities to try out new things, which I love. I've learned so much over the past 4 years. Um, so yeah, for example, there's me holding a poster, and that's the exhibition I was able to do with Turanga on our insect neighbors. I've included this head of an Irish elk, which is a blog that I'm writing about at the moment. I get to do bio blitzes and go out in the community and talk about insects, which honestly, it's like a dream come true. Yeah, I even got the museum to put a stick insect on the side of their education van. Who would have thought? Uh, so my advice, which I think is advice that, applies to any job really, but say yes to everything, try everything. You just don't know what you like until you do it. I didn't realize I was into entomology until the very end of my bachelor. Volunteer, that's one thing I also did. I was a volunteer at Auckland Museum for about a year, and so that really gave me an in. Diversify your skills. You don't have to just, if you pick science, then give up on art. You can actually still do both. Don't compare yourself to other people. That's never a good idea. We're all on our own journeys. Always have a plan A, plan B, and plan C. So, if I wasn't going to do my PhD, I already knew I had another plan to go to. Expect the imposter syndrome. Uh, yeah, it's going to happen. So you just, work through it. But yeah, happy to talk about where I am and what I do. Cheers.